Welcome to Egypt and to the capital Cairo for the second round of games in Group B of the CAF Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. Today it's the turn of both Tunisia and Kenya to try to kickstart their campaigns, both sides having lost their opening games. Tunisia were beaten by Nigeria by a goal to nil. Kenya went down to Morocco despite a valiant effort, 3-2. It ended in favour of the North Africans, which means that both these sides today are playing catch-up and are in desperate need of points. Tunisia come to the party knowing that defeat in their opening game is no disaster, having started the 2023 campaign with a loss, only to go on to reach the semi-finals and thus qualify for that year's Under-20 World Cup. Kenya, meanwhile, have no such luxury. This is only their second appearance at this level of competition and their first since the tournament became one featuring groups and not just knockout football. That's because you have to go back over 4 decades for Kenya's first and only previous appearance in this tournament, which is when they competed in 1979, only the second edition of Africa's Under-20 competition. They have just the one win in the competition from 3 games in total, and it came in their very first outing when beating Ethiopia 2-0 in the opening leg of their first round clash. So, a first victory in 46 years at this level is needed, and if they want confidence, is that the shirts you can see in front of you, the Tunisian ones, well, they've found goals hard to come by in this competition in recent years, having failed to score in 5 of the last 7 Under-20 AFCON games. Well, the Kenyans, meanwhile, this is a scenario that they simply are not used to. As said, over 40 years away from the competition and back now, and knowing that victory today in this game is an absolute must if they are to have any hope of making it through to the knockout phase. The top 2 in each team go through. The 2 best third-placed sides will also make it to the quarterfinals, which get underway on the 12th of May. That's a week tomorrow. And whoever wins those quarterfinals will be taking places in the Under-20 World Cup in South America later in the year. The tournament being held in Chile from September to October. So a real incentive, despite the fact that the other 2 teams in this group are, of course, heavyweights, none more so than Nigeria, the record 7-time champions at this level. Morocco, meanwhile, well, former champions themselves, but they are looking to continue their rise across all formats of the game: women's football, men's football, youth football. So, just moments to go before Tunisia take on Kenya.
For those who love it, those who support it, and those who play it, Orange is here. Orange, proud sponsor of African football.
Here, we're known for our sense of service. It's all about finding ways to support you. Day after day, doing everything we can to be useful and providing energy in all its forms. Everywhere, every time, all across the continent.
Welcome back to the 30th of June Stadium, as we see the Kenyan bench waiting for what their coach has described as a must-win clash for them. Tunisia, semi-finalists in both 2021 and 2023. And much like their opponents, they know what it is to be absent from this competition for a lengthy period of time, over 30 years in their case, before coming back in 2021. So the teams coming out for this Group B encounter between the two sides that lost their opening games in Group B. Tunisia on the right of your screen in white, Kenya on the left in red. Victory a necessity for these sides if they are to stop Nigeria and Morocco making it into the quarterfinals from this group. So the scene is set and for kick-off of what should be an intriguing game gets underway. The referee, the man in the middle, Liberia's Emmanuel Mensah, supported by assistants from Ghana, Mauritania. They will of course be the national anthems. Starting with that. Of Tunisia. Of support for the North Africans in North Africa, and now the national anthem of Kenya. Well, they're going to need plenty of encouragement. Kenya seeking to do something they haven't done in nearly half a century, that is win a game at the top level of under-20 football in Africa. Only their second appearance in the tournament, Kenya. As said, as we see the Tunisia side, two changes made by coach Abdelhai Ben Sultan. Coming into the team today, Nassim Dendani, wearing number 18, and Anis Dubal as well. The side captained by Waidi Issaoui of Esperance, one of the biggest clubs, not just in Tunisia, but in African football as well. Runners-up in last year's African Champions League. Emmanuel Mensah, confirmation of the referee. Kugre comes from Ghana, Shedan from Mauritania, and the fourth official, Luxoro Badi of the Republic of South Africa. VAR in evidence today as well, just as it has been throughout the tournament. Some notable decisions having been made that they've got right, important ones indeed, especially for Sierra Leone yesterday. Initially their match winner ruled out, but overturned, and it came in, and now they are top of the pile in Group A. As for Kenya, three changes made by coach Salim Babu coming into the side. In goal, a change in goal, Wide Clifford Oduor, Joseph Bate and Javan Omondi. also coming into the side. Well, seeing the Kenya lineup, that is the Tunisian coach, Ben Sultan. And keep your eye on Aldrin Kibet, wearing number 10 for Kenya, 18 years of age and pursuing his career in Spain. Dan Dani in your screen, and that is Aymen Matlouti, the assistant coach of Tunisia's under-20 side now, and a man who kept goal for the Carthage Eagles in many senior Africa Cup of Nations, and now using all his years of experience to pass on to the next generation of Tunisian footballers. So we are underway. Tunisia kicking off against Kenya in a game both these sides realistically must win to keep their dreams of making the quarterfinals alive. Instantly into the action. Wasim El Abrougi, but also not too many minutes on the clock before Javan Omondi of Kenya taking a knock. Just clashed into Aymen Ala Meherzi. Dubal, one of those who's come into the side today on the left flank. Anis Dubal plays his football in France with Marseille. The junior sides. And Bate, who's into the side for Kenya with an early touch as well at the back. He'll have appreciated that. Well, that's certainly not what they wanted to do. And Kenya have an early corner. Well, they scored twice in the opening defeat to Morocco, and they took the lead as well against the North Africans. Can they do so once again? This time, obviously, against Tunisia. And it comes and straight into the arms of Thomas Zouaghi, Tunisia's goalkeeper. Despite all that pushing and shoving. Well, there's a break on here, and there are shirts in white steaming forward. It always looked like he was offside over on that right-hand side. Miriam Chedad of Mauritania waiting for the touch before raising her flag. This was what all the pushing and shoving was about. It was just a shame that the delivery didn't see who was going to win the physical battle that had been shaping up before the corner. The Kenyan coach said, we have to win to be able to progress. When he was asked what the objective was for today before the game, he said, win. And that was very simply on his mind. Well aware that anything else simply will not do. He said he didn't actually watch Tunisia's opening game against Nigeria live as he was preparing for Kenya's game against Morocco. The coaching squad have since watched them, and we've come up with a plan. Well, let's see if that plan from that man can be enough. It would be a major bonus for Kenya if they can perform well in this tournament, especially with the Senior Africa Cup of Nations coming to the country in 2027. A good bedrock of youth would be most helpful for whoever is leading the Kenyan senior side, the Harren Bay Stars. At that time, it's obviously Benny McCarthy of South Africa now. He'll very much be hoped to be around in 2 years' time when that competition gets underway. Tunisia down the left-hand side with Anis Dubal. And a bit of space here for Lawrence Uba. Cut out by Mohamed Amin Alala. Pensive look from Ben Sultan. Well, that's under hit. Can Kenya profit? Well, Bas is asking a lot of Lawrence. Was conceivably an opportunity to strike a goal. Not taken. Dubal, and an opening here for Tunisia, and that's an outstanding save for the man who's drafted into the side today for Kenya, Clifford Oduor. Snapshot coming in from Tunisia as it broke to them, and he had to get down low, the Kenyan keeper, and he did really, really well as well. Good early strike coming in from Faris Buznina, and a crucial touch, taking it around the post. Smart goalkeeping, good striking as well. Jostling is going to be a feature of this game. Free header at the back stick, but he couldn't take it. Alala. He might think twice about that next time, because there was a little bit of space for the central defender. He does have goals to his name. Alala plays his club football for CA Bizeta in the Tunisian league. On this occasion, not for the juniors, but for the senior side. 23 appearances this season for the centre-back of Tunisia, and 1 goal as well. Tunisia, this is a good little spell for them after a quiet start. Baron Ochieng, well, missing the initial ball, but profiting after the bounce. And then he is fouled. That'll be a free kick. So Kenya. Late challenge coming in from Halil Ayari. Has got to be careful. One of 3 Tunisian players on a yellow card, and you only need 2 yellows in the group phase to be ruled out of the next game. Mukadida just finding Kenya in the midfield. And that was a handball. Emmanuel Wanchala just playing it inside. Kenya on the move as well down the left-hand flank. Tricky to keep it in, delivered at pace to him. Manzura Aquaro asking a lot of the left-sided play, and here is the opportunity. It came Alala's way. You can see he just didn't get the right sort of contact, and it was a very, very presentable opportunity for him. Javan. Crunching tackle, but ridden well. And on they move. Kevin Wangaya playing it out to this right-hand side. Javan, well, he just wasn't on the same wavelength with Wangaya. Kenya achieved their qualification when finishing runners-up in the Central African zone at Sekafa, beaten by neighbours and great rivals Tanzania in the final. They made it to this competition courtesy of comprehensive thumping of Burundi in the semi-finals of the Sekafa. 4-0 it ended to the Kenyans. They were in really good goal-scoring form in that tournament as Kibet strives through the midfield. Runs too far forward. Tunisia now on the counter. Dendani. Striker goal. Sawi, the Tunisian skipper, drawing the tackle from Andreas. Soriambo. The defensive work. Well, going back to Kenya's qualification, it really was some feat. Not just the fact that they made it to the group style tournament of the African under-20s, which they had never done since that format came in 3 decades ago. But also because they scored so many goals, 15 in their favour, just 3 against, and 2 of those came from Tanzania in the final. Javan. And they scored 2 goals in their opener. Can they maintain? Well, it is really impressive scoring form. The decent striker goal and tipped around and tipped over by Zwagi. Excellent strike from Kevin Wangaya, and he was one of the men who really did deliver for the Kenyans in qualifying. Scored 4 times. And that was a sweet strike from the midfielder. And from distance, but very dangerous. And Thomas Zwagi taking no chances. Kenya's second corner of the game. The first one went harmlessly towards Tunisian goalkeeper. Barron, and they're leaving it. And is this a plan? It's not worked if it is. And Tunisia can clear their lines. Well, it's Ayari who's gone down. Just ran into a Kenyan sandwich. And the meat in the middle was Khalil Ayari, 20 years of age. Plays with Stade Tunisien. As we see this fine strike from Kevin Wangaya. Might have been clipping the bar, might have been clipping a little bit of the underside of the bar. But Thomas Zwaghi, based in Italy with Hellas Verona, the Tunisian goalkeeper, taking no chances. And as for Wangaya, he is currently unattached. No club have him on their books, and so would have been a mightily impressive way of trying to attract attention to his abilities. Sarah dispossessed. Ayari back on his feet. And Buznina, who had that early chance. With the hold-up player now, Tunisia have a corner. Yeah, second of the game as well. Well, it's hard fought. And it's a fascinating battle between these two nations. Alala had a very clear opportunity last time around from the other side. What can they do here? And it was free again. And once again, they just couldn't get a proper connection on it. That was Abrugi. Bukadida feeling something there. Let's have a look. Khadida actually with the opportunity after, again, he came to Alala first. Two centre-backs and Khadida being caught where he doesn't want to be. Actually lifted up by Andreas, but Tunisia win it back. Nice turn from Dendani, and good awareness as well. Buznina. Kenya clear their lines. And now can they break? It's asking a lot of Javan. Tunisia, meanwhile, well, they qualified for this tournament by finishing third in a 5-team North African group won by Morocco. Hosts Egypt were second. So, hosts means that the Tunisians have experience of playing in this part of the world, given that qualifiers were played in Egypt at the end of last year. This competition was supposed to be held by Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, but they pulled out with just over a month to go in Egypt, who had hosted the 23 finals on a bid again for 2025. They're ready to step in. What a ball that was to find Ochieng. From the left back position to the right wing position and cutting out everybody in between. And Kenya turning defence into attack in the blink of an eye. So both keepers called into action in this opening period of the game. Well, Zawagi have more work to do here. He does, but it's routine stuff for the 20-year-old. Nice little touch. Space for Tunisia. Mohamed Rayan Anen plays it out to the right-hand side where Ayari has taken up position. And that was the right idea to play it into the middle. Kibet. Andreas. Ochieng. Javan trying to find it, but slipped as he played the pass. Andreas again. Patient from Kenya. They certainly don't need to force it. The referee having enough of the tussling going on for the Tunisian skipper. Chance again, but overhit, and there is space on this left-hand side for Tunisia at times. Leader, not for the first time, feeling some discomfort. Just the right forearm on the neck of the central defender. As we see Wangaya's effort again. Two good hands to it from Zawagi. Bukadida forward, trying to play in Dubal. He's really pushed high. So we're into the second quarter of the game, and absolutely nothing to split these sides at present. He's charged with seeing if he can continue Tunisia's fine form in these last two tournaments. semi-finalists. Last time around, beaten by the eventual champions, Senegal. And in 2021, it was Uganda who put Tunisia to the sword. Curiously, they only won one game in each of those tournaments, Tunisia, but still managed to make it as far as they did. Into the middle it goes from Kenya. Where goalkeeper from Zwagi. So they only managed to win one game. That's because both their quarter-final victories were won on penalties against Congo 2 years ago, against Morocco 4 years ago. And that might be in the minds of both teams when they meet on Wednesday. Tunisia taking on Morocco in the final round of group matches. Nigeria taking on Kenya, whose need for the points might seem greater given the prowess and dominance of the West Africans in this tournament over the years. A remarkable record of having reached the semi-finals on 16 of their 18 trips. To the tournament. Yari with the delivery, and it's gone through everybody, and it was missed by Alala. Pretty decent whip on it. From Yari. And once again, Alala was closest to it when he got that one wholly wrong. And that's what his coach thinks of it. He's managed in Morocco in recent times. Ben Sultan, Meknes and Fez. So he might be well versed in what is coming his way in the third and final game. Zwagi. Clearly needing some treatment. Well, they wouldn't want to lose at Zwagi. He's been based in Italy for the last 6-7 years, where he was with the likes of Chievo and Sassuolo before joining Verona's under-20s last year. Bezbez, the reserve goalkeeper, on the bench. And there's that really excellent save from Wycliffe Oduor. 7 minutes in. Decent enough effort from Fares Bouznina. A very good stop from the Kenyan, who is playing his first minutes of the campaign. Smiles in the stands, not so on the bench. Zwagi indicating clearly to the rest of the technical crew that he is going to be okay to continue. Desperate to play on. Well, he'll want a bit more attacking intent from his side. Ben Sultan. A few more opportunities to come his way, or his side's way. They need to stop the bleeding before the game can resume. And a reminder that it is Morocco against Nigeria coming up later tonight. The game kicking off in 2.5 hours' time. Luti watching on, deep in thought, obviously hoping that his young charge Zwagi can be okay. Tunisia wanted positives from their narrow defeat against Nigeria. It was that by conceding just the one goal, they had stopped the rot when their previous 3 games in the tournament had seen the North Africans ship at least 3 goals on each occasion. And that certainly is an unwanted record. Well, Zouagi's okay to continue, as are we. Kadida. Dubal down the line. Looking long for Sawi. Given away cheaply. And there were lots of players in white around him. Kenya, the dominance in possession. Dubal with the slip. Javan trying to feed it. Kibet, who had broken through from his midfield role. Good hold up from Lawrence. Pretty needless push in the back from Javan. He used to coach the under-17 side many a year ago, Ben Sultan. That was between 2013 and 2014. He was actually only appointed to the job in the middle of April, so precious little time to prepare for this tournament. Sari with a header. And another hold-up in play. Just taking a blow from Alala. Clash of heads which the Kenyan has come off worse with. He was the man who gave Kenya the lead in that game against Morocco, opening the scoring just after the quarter-hour mark. That only plays for Mofa back home in Kenya. we had a lengthy stoppage for the injury to the Tunisian goalkeeper Zouaghi. There's going to be plenty of stoppage time, one would imagine, at the end of this half, as a result of both these hold-ups in play. Tunisia may have been semi-finalists at the last two tournaments, but prior to that, they spent a small eternity in the wilderness from this competition. They played in the first 6 African under-20 events. It's had various guises and names over the years. It is today the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. In the early years, it was effectively a qualifier for the Under-20 World Cup. Tunisia were at the first 6 tournaments and then absent for 32 years prior to their return in 2021. And it was when the competition expanded from 8 to 12 teams from 2021 onwards. And qualification was achieved courtesy of the finalists in the regional zones that has sparked Tunisia's return. They got a really good record in the UNAF zone, the Union of North African Football, that is. 9 titles since their in 2005. And that dominance has finally seen them play it back-to-back under 20 AFCONs. And they'll be hoping to do so time and again. Libya, Algeria, the sides are missing out. Lawrence gamely chasing the bandage round his head. It's well played. Static from Ayara. Kenya Prophet. It's scrappy, they just need to get a foot on the ball. The ball pinging around really is pinball style. No chance for... Well, we've not seen too much of Hassan Beja. He's managed to keep it in to the byline. He goes, and Kenya open the scoring. And Lawrence Ouma, who was injured just moments ago, has his second goal of the tournament. But more importantly, he has given Kenya the lead against Tunisia in a must-win game for the East Africans. And that was all down to the tenacity of Hassan Beja down the left-hand flank. And the big man for the Rising Stars was not going to miss that opportunity. Look at the celebrations as well. Well, just as he did on the opening day against Morocco, Lawrence has fired his side into the lead. Beja just never gave it up. Kept on fighting. Brugge thought it was going out. Lawrence kept his cool. Beja had the awareness to play it back in to exactly the right area. Lawrence got his feet right. And he set those fans up on their feet in the stands, and the Kenyan flag flying with glee. That's what it means. Game on. Ayari trying to lead the fight back for the North Africans. Down in the area he goes. referee unmoved. And they've had the greater possession, Kenya. Just a little touch on the ball, importantly from Andreas. One of the younger players in the Kenyan side, the Kariobangi Sharks midfielder, just 17 years of age. Now checking it and checking it. Looked to me that he got a very small touch, Andreas, but this is being checked. And we wait. But it is nice to see the referee being given space as a VAR decision is announced. So often we're seeing many top-level footballers just crowding the referee, trying to persuade his mind, even though the decision is being taken in a little truck outside the stadium itself. No penalty. Shout has come out from Oduor. He's had a good first half, the Bidco United player. Justified his manager's selection today. Beja just losing his footing. Marvelous. Look at the joy, look at the enjoyment. Helps, I'm sure. But the fact that their favourites are leading. It's Sawi. A reminder that Tunisia have failed to score in 5 of their last 7 under-20 AFCON games. They've not won their last 4 in the tournament. But for that early effort from Buznina, they have not troubled Oduor. It was equal to the task, very much so when they did. It's under hit, but allow that managers to pick it up. Play it forward, Ayari. Ayari manages to win that back, and it'll just hit fairly aimlessly forward. Lawrence adjudged to have fouled Bukadida with the free kick. They need to build up a head of steam, Tunisia, because they've never got going in this final third. Ayari just loses it fairly easily. A 20-year-old with Stade Tunisien. Major again, well, not the first time he's slipped or stumbled. Covered on this occasion. Wanjala. Like Adrien Kibet, based in Spain. Interesting to see these Kenyan players at a young age moving to that part of the world. Kibet, who wears number 10, said it's always been his dream to play in Spain. He wants to play for Barcelona. He's currently on the books of Gimnàstic de Tarragona at youth level. He's been in Spain for the last 2 years, and it's just 18. A bit of space now on the right-hand side for Abrugi. First time cross from him as well. Dendani left it. Isawi. Forced much wider than he'd want to be, and then gets his Attempted a bit of trickery wrong. And Kenya can go again. Lawrence, we're in the last minute of the 45, but there must be at least 5 minutes added on and possibly more. Lawrence down again, this time under that pressure from Dubal. Alala, Ayari, who's Nina just foraging a bit deeper than he might want to. And he's gone forward at pace, look at that, 11 minutes. I thought it might be 7 or 8, certainly not 11. What can happen in that time? Javan. Chieng, and he's a bit behind him, and Dubal, this is good determination from him. And he wins the free kick as well. At least Dubal, the 18-year-old, showed real purpose and desire, and his teammates could take a little bit of note. They can certainly go up at least a gear or two. Tunisia, and this is Beja. Just getting past Abrugui for the goal. Abrugui thought he had done enough. Beja had other ideas. Picked out Lawrence. And he gleefully steered home. Ululations from those Kenyan fans. 46 years without a win at this level for the East Africans. Well, there is a chance for Tunisia. They just simply couldn't get enough on it. And it was powder puff in the end, but it was very presentable. Sawi. Dubal, first time ball in, but well cut out. Javan under a little bit of pressure. And Sawi judged to have handled. Well, the Esperance man has yet to really get going, nor get his side firing either. Beja will pick this up on the far side for Kenya and just leave it out. And they've got the throw in. The height of Lawrence in the middle. Can help Kenya if they want to go that route. Mansour flicking it in. To Lawrence, and now there's another player down. He's in some real discomfort as well, Alala. And again, it's a clash of heads between Lawrence and Alala. Lawrence, you'll have noticed, has removed the bandage on his head. It's a lot of blood for Alala. Well, Zwagi was bleeding from his nose earlier in the half. And Now it is Al-Ala's turn. Boogie just won't want to see this. How did he get beaten? Has kept his cool. Fairly routine finish, but you've still got to turn them in. Reminder that Tunisia have not scored since the 2023 quarterfinals in this tournament. No worries, of course, at the other end for now. Well, that certainly wasn't a good sign. The kicking of the feet. Suggested pain, although when there's not any movement, it can be more worrying. Now, when Tunisia did get to the Under-20 World Cup, they did very, very well 2 years ago. Made it out of the groups into the knockout phase. Unfortunately for them, they met Brazil, a useful nation in the world of football. And the South Americans won that encounter. Tunisia, it was their third appearance at the Under-20 World Cup, their first coming when the competition was staged for the very first time back in 1977. History made by the North Africans then, and even greater history was made by the same country a year later, 1978. And Tunisia beat Mexico at the Senior World Cup that year to register the first ever victory for the continent of Africa at the World Cup. They've obviously had plenty since, but it was the Tunisians who led the way. He looks as though he's been in some sort of a brawl. Good to see the desire of these Tunisian players. Zouaghi playing on when his nose was streaming with blood, and Malala reluctant to go off as well. To state the obvious, you don't get too many opportunities to play in this competition, and they want to make sure that they can be on the pitch for every minute if possible. Tunisia currently down to 10. How will that affect them? Javan in behind, trying to play it through to the marauding midfielder. Andreas, I think it was, with the run. Asawi. Meherzi. Based in Qatar. Manela Meherzi. Many of the players in the squad who are overseas, playing their trade in France for Tunisia, the likes of Bouznina, Dubal, Boukadida, Dendani and Abrugui. The only one in this matchday squad outside of Europe and North Africa is Meherzi. Ayari on the charge. wants options. He's cutting a very frustrated figure. Halil Ayari. Nice footwork this time. Now, is there end product? He's twisting and turning. Kenya could have broken, but for the fact that he hit the back of Andreas's heel. Mohamed Ryan and then Meherzi pings it out to that right-hand side. And they've got numbers forward, but not that far forward. You can see just 4 of them in and around the edge of the D. Well, with the coach only having taken charge 6 or so weeks ago, it's understandable why they might not be a fluent unit, certainly going forward. The Tunisian really do need to raise their game and a bit more belief in that final third. Tackle coming in from Beja. With the clearance. Bate. Ochieng plays for Sofa Paka back home. The man whose goal separated the sides. You can see the blood streaming down behind his right ear. And that bandage is going to need to go back on. With blood coming from Lawrence and blood coming from Alala, who's back on the field. You don't want blood mixing, really. Being the easiest of games for the medical teams. That's swung in, and that's difficult for Oduor, and he's just about managed to deal with it. Well, the Tunisians claiming he went over the line. Well, that was asking serious questions of why Clifford Oduor drifting inside, and he got a touch on it against the post. And he did well. Did enough, and he rode his luck. Oduor, but he managed to get there in the end. Well, if they're claiming that the ball went over the line, I don't think that was the case. Just a difficult effort, and I don't see personally how that's even close to crossing the line. It's the handball that they're claiming for. That's what it is. By Ochieng. If he was trying to pop that into the top corner, he was doing pretty well. Well, Ochieng certainly wasn't looking at the ball. He certainly knew he had hit it, as you can see from his face and reaction afterwards. Is it in an unnatural position? That's for the VAR team to decide. No doubt that it struck the 19-year-old's right arm. Into the 60th minute of this opening period. Not for the first time a player is down on the floor and receiving treatment, just as Thomas Zwagi in the Tunisian goal needed some. It is now the turn of the Kenyan keeper. He's the man who came closest to scoring what seems like an eternity ago. Fares Bouznina with Nice in France. VAR is being consulted, and I think they're right to send him to go and check for himself as to whether he feels there was any intent. And so a decision to be made for Liberia's Emmanuel Mensah. And Tunisia, how they need a break to go their way. You can see that his head is not looking at the ball. Subjective decision for the referee, alerted to him by the VAR unit. Will they decide? Tunisia having found goals so hard to come by. All eyes on the man in the middle. At the end of what has been a very long opening period, and it looks as if he is pointing to the spot, and indeed he is and has done. Oh, Baron Ochieng will claim it was harsh. Not too many protests from the Kenyan team, interestingly. And Tunisia have been handed a gilt-edged opportunity to bring themselves level. The responsibility falling to Fares Bouznina, striker with Nice. His under-19 side, 20 appearances this season, 9 goals so far. And he'll hope to be bringing a little bit of that goal-scoring form to his national team. Fares Bouznina with a chance to bring Tunisia level 18 minutes into stoppage time. Must be one of the latest goals ever scored at this tournament, if it were to go in. Bouznina steps up, makes no mistake. Tunisia a level. Kenya punished for the handball by Baron Ochieng. And he was denied by Oduor early on in the game. But on this occasion, he beat the Kenyan goalkeeper. And it is Tunisia 1, Kenya 1. As we see the incident that led to the penalty again. Well, some might say, where else is he supposed to put his hand? But that was not on the mind of Fares Bouznina. Look what it means to him as well. His first goal of the tournament, Tunisia's first goal of the tournament. Half-time team talk is going to be a little easier for their coaching crew now as the half-time whistle blows as well. That the last action of the first half. Kenya can count themselves and consider themselves unlucky, having largely prevented them from Tunisians from having goal-scoring opportunities. It was Lawrence who opened the scoring and turning in a fine ball into him from Hassan Beja after a good round down the left-hand side. And then, as we've just seen, Tunisia levelling it up from the spot in the 63rd minute of the opening half. Means that at the break it is Tunisia 1, Kenya 1. So the half-time statistics, Kenya, who had around 60% possession at one point in the opening period, reduced now, so it's far more level. 3 shots on goal apiece. Some decent saves in there. And we've yet to see a yellow card, despite the fact that the players have taken their knocks. 2 players from the Tunisia having had to have blood treated, and 1 from Kenya as well. 1-1 at the break. The highlights from the Group B encounter between Kenya and Tunisia, both sides having lost their opening game in the tournament. Tunisia beaten by Nigeria, Kenya 3-2 by Morocco. Both teams fully aware the victory is needed if they are to have hopes of making it through to the knockout phase. Fares Busnina it was who had the first chance of a first period with limited opportunities, and he forced a really good save from Clifford Oduor, who had come into the side for Kenya today. Then at the other end, Kevin Wangaya. What an effort that was. Requiring some work by the Tunisian goalkeeper Thomas Zouaghi. And then Hassan Beja managed to get to the byline, finding his way past Nassim El Abrougi and setting it up to Lawrence Ouma Okoth, who just moments after having had to have prolonged treatment on a head wound, then was heady with delight as he gave the Rising Stars the lead. His second goal of the tournament. Delight in the stands. And at that point, Kenya were good value for their advantage. And then the key moment for Tunisia in the first half. And Grugi making amends by putting a ball in that caused real problem for Kenya at the back. Instantly, the Tunisian bench were up, claiming handball against Baron Ochieng, and the referee from Liberia agreed. And Tunisia, who found goals hard to come by in this tournament in recent games, made no mistake. Busnina this time finding the back of the net. The North Africans' first goal of the tournament. They are off the mark, up and running at last after 3 halves of football. And he scored it in the 63rd minute of the opening period. 1-1 at the break. Welcome back to the 30th of June Stadium for a delayed start effectively to the second period. The game having started an hour and a quarter ago, but this half yet to get underway because, as you'll see on your screen, there was stoppage time of 18 minutes at least, owing to several incidents involving players needing treatment. Ellie Mwende, who started the game against Morocco, is on in the place of Javan, who will come into the side for this clash. Mwende based in the United Arab Emirates with Al Nassr there. Kenya must have thought they had done enough to go in at the break, a goal to the good up, but Tunisia had other ideas. Busnina making no mistake from the spot for what must be the latest goal, or possibly scored in any half of the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations. 18 minutes into stoppage time does not happen very often, to state the obvious. Well, will that goal spark Tunisia into more life? Nice ball through from Kibet, trying to play in Beja. Smart defending on this occasion from Abrugi, who didn't do too well for that Kenyan goal. And up against Hassan Beja of AFC Leopards, the 19-year-old. Scored Kenya's other goal against Morocco, that man on your screen. That's the equalising goal. They led, they trailed, they equalised, and then they were undone again, Kenya, against North Africans in their first game. Against such opposition, this their second. Cheng with the delivery. Manzour. Jala. Defensive desperation from Abrugi, just misjudged, I think, the bounce of the ball and then just had to knock it behind for a corner. Lawrence, who had a headband on in the first half, then took it off. Then we can see the blood coming from just behind his right ear. Headband firmly back on. Alala was the man he clashed with. And then later on he clashed with Alala, both purely innocuous incidents, and there is Alala there. This has been happening since the early stages of this game, this holding and then run up to a corner. I'm entirely sure what Alala thinks he's doing. I'm not really sure what Beja was doing with that corner. Sorry, Ochieng, I should say. Desperately poor delivery. They certainly have not made the most of their set-piece opportunities, Kenya's rising stars. That cannoned off Lawrence. Picked up in the centre of the park by Wangaya. Kibet. Isawi. And losing out, that's better from Tunisia. Busnina. They lost possession. Beja will try and get Kenya moving. Ayari flitted in and out of the game in the first half. That's a waste from Halil Ayari, not for the first time today. Wangaya looking for Lawrence, who's constantly tussling with Alala. I don't think Mohamed Amin Alala is going to have fond memories of his clash with the Kenyan. In more ways than one. But he's certainly a physical presence up top. Kenya's goal scorer. And he's keeping the back line occupied. Wanjala. It goes back to Wanjala, Kenyan captain. Plays for Tolerano in Spain, the 19-year-old. There he is. Likes to play it out from the back. Dubal. It's good strength shown by Bate. Andreas. It's fairly loose for the skipper. Can Tunisia take advantage? Buznina. He's recovered well. Wanjala. Manzour. Hint of a break on for Kenya. Stopped in its tracks. Comms seemingly gone. Emmanuel Mensah. Kenya unhappy because they felt that they were flowing forward. Solo Badi just helping Liberia's Mensah. Sure he is mic'd up. All important that was at the end of the first period. And VAR sent him to check the pitch side monitor. The penalty was awarded in Tunisia's favour. Otherwise, up again. Flicked it, hit on to no one. They had to gamble on the flick. Alala long switch of play. Nice pass indeed. Dubal. Buznina's in the middle if they can find him. Dendani. Bit of space here to deliver the cross. In it goes. Wanjala away. And now Buznina. And Yari goes down half-heartedly. The flag went up against Ayari. Even before any suggestion that it could have been a penalty could be discussed. It would have been incredibly soft had it been so. Andreas. Searching ball forward, looking for Beja. Cut out by Abrugi. Manzour does well. Opens it up. Andreas again. You feel Kenya can do with a little bit of width just to have an out ball from a congested middle of the area, middle of the park. Chiang. One day. Stooped header, Wangaya. Try and win it back. Instead, he just brings the Tunisian down. And then, with Etoile du Sahel. He looks still from their Tunisian bench. They want all 3 points if they are to keep alive their dream of winning a first ever African under-20 title. African champions at senior level, of course, having triumphed on home soil in 2004. Chiang. Nice little chest. Wangaya. Chiang using his body well. Just caught there by Isawi. You could hear that shout of pain immediately from the 17-year-old. His foot, metatarsal area. And he's quietly gone about his business in the middle of the park. Andreas Diambo Amundi. And as a result of that tackle, player into the notebook. Crucially for Tunisia, not one of the 3 that have been booked. Meherzi, Ayari, and Dubal, the players at risk of missing the game against Morocco on Wednesday if they get a yellow card. Just fell to Lawrence, who had a strike, but it was instantly blocked, and they surely got a corner. Indeed. You can see the medical work done on him. You wouldn't have known that he had blood streaming from his nose around an hour ago. Kevin Wangaya with the delivery. It's a better ball in this time, and a good header as well. And cleared away from the line by Tunisia. Much better delivery from Kenya, and still they are coming forward. But the foul has been spotted. The moment is gone for the Rising Stars. Rugi on the floor. Well, much better delivery this time around. Got up very well as well, the Kenya captain, Wanjala. Another break in play, which really has been a feature of this game. Ordinarily around this time we should be 50 minutes or so away from the end of the game, instead we got well over half an hour to go. When he rose so well. And Brugian making the clearance. Landed awkwardly. So play resumes with the Tunisian right back off the field. Kenya got another goal in the Tunisia. No East African side has ever won this title. Some story if Kenya were to do so, but in their first appearance in the tournament since the late 70s, they are surely not targeting that, but all the teams here desperate to make it to the World Cup, given this doubles up as qualifying. Dendani forward for Tunisia. Udoa gathers at the second attempt. The Kenyan stopper, and no players in white in there to make the most of his inability to catch that first time out. The yellow cards having stayed in the pocket for a very long time and now beginning to come out. And you can see the arm round Beja from Anen. He's the second Tunisian booked in almost as many minutes. Space for Beja to work in. Jaya. Well, that's a nice ball out to the left-hand side into Dendani. He just can't get past Bate, who sticks out one of those long legs. Lovely switch of play from the North Africans. Meherzi. Lala. Sawi trying to turn Wangaya. And then getting the tackle right on this occasion. So changes for the North Africans. Ben Ali is dropped for this game, coming back in. In the place of Abrugi. Sorry, Abrugi off. So too Sawi. Cordy also coming on. So changes are plenty. So both players on a yellow, removed by the coach. And as Cordy is a 19-year-old with Hanover in Germany. Ben Ali, a 20-year-old with Sfaxian. CS Faxion in Tunisia. Alayadine Debali, another based in North Africa. With Esperance. There's Cordy. Dendani, and wins the corner. And he's coming into it a little bit in the last few minutes, Nassim Dendani, the Monaco player. Ben Ali, can he use his height and physical presence to find a way past the Kenyan backline once again? Lala always involved. All about the delivery. Lawrence with the clearance. And that's an important bit of pressing as well, and Kibet is leading a Kenyan attack, 4-on-2. Can the Rising Stars make this count? They can't, because it just drifted away from Beja, and now the Tunisians have numbers back, and they blocked the fleeting move forward by the Rising Stars. The pass had to be right from Kibet. And unfortunately for fans of a Kenyan persuasion, it simply wasn't. Zwagi, happy just to calm this on its way. Another of his long throws. By a Tunisian head, and clearance continued by Ben Ali. Beja, very confident and strikes a goal as well. Hassan Beja looking for his second of the tournament in Kenya's second of the day. Never troubling Zwagi. But a clear sign of intent from Beja. Tunisia in behind here, and if they can sort it out, Buznina might have another chance. Instead, it's just turned behind for a corner. Well, he took it with his left when arguably he could have hit it more freely with his right and possibly generated more power. Look at that. He was never going to beat Oduor with that. He has, though, won a corner. Make no mistake how badly Tunisia want to win this game. Swinger is deep, and that's a good header as well. And just over the post when he got up really well, the substitute. He's just come on, Omar Ben Ali. Good delivery. He could have got over that as well. Instead, it bounced off the top of his head, really. If anything, he got two over it. A much better delivery than we've seen for much of this game. And he properly attacked it as well. That's a one-day substitute, as we see, was Nina's penalty. Cool as you like. Keeper the wrong way. Kept his composure. Took off it. Deserved celebration and no doubt relief as well. Frustration over briefly for Ben Sultan, but he's got to live with the final quarter of the game, which we are now into. Reminder that both these teams started with defeat. One of Morocco and Nigeria can look at their place in the quarters tonight. Andreas Odhiambo is off. Not recovered from that foul. Kibet also leaving the field. Humphrey Morocco, another with Kariobangi Sharks coming onto the pitch and instantly going up top as Kenya try to restore their lead. Ayari. Some nice touches, but there's not often been end product. And there we go. Some of the footwork, fancy as it is, you don't always see it being utilised to his team's advantage. Free kick Tunisia's way. Taking it early and on the floor instead of putting it into the area. Dendani, this is a good run from him to the byline. He goes, and Tunisia can't miss. And Tunisia, who were trailing for much of the game, have finally scored to go ahead. Kenyan resistance broken. And the North Africans celebrate calamity at the back. Well, he hasn't been on the field for very long. Well, fine, he's been getting a yellow card as well. But Omar Ben Ali, after good work down this left-hand side from Dendani, on hand to profit, and he couldn't miss from there. What's happening here? He's had such a good game, the Kenyan goalkeeper, but he must have been put off by his skipper coming in. And they have been patient, and they have been patient. And Tunisia now lead just moments after Ben Ali powered a header over. Dendani just kept going. Put it into the middle, and it couldn't have fallen any kinder for Ben Ali. He went close against Nigeria in the dying moments. He was not going to be missing that. Finally, a proper smile from the Tunisian coach. Kenya made their substitutions, looking for a little bit more firepower and threat in the final third. They are really going to need it now, but not in the way that they had hoped for. Morocco, the man who's come on to try and instill that. Beja attacking it. Ochieng lining up the delivery again. Needs a flick, and Lawrence gets it, but there's no one to profit. And Zawagi uses his height, plenty of it, to just pluck that out of the Cairo sky. Jala. Just how much is that going to take out of the Kenyans? How much belief is it going to be giving to the Tunisians? Been a very, very tightly contested game with very little to choose between the sides. Ben Ali just checked off it. Manzour. Ching into Rangaya, took that nicely. And trying to feed in Beja. And Buznina to take it away for Tunisia. Confirmation that the goal scorer got the yellow card for removing his shirt. Third Tunisian in the book. They will go into the next game against Morocco with 6 players on a yellow, which is not ideal in a regional derby. Beja for Kenya, trying to find an equaliser again. It has mirrored exactly what happened against Morocco in their first game. They led 1-0, they trailed 2-1. They'll be desperate to make sure that not only do they get the equaliser again, but on this occasion, they can find a winning goal. Bit of space. Check back when there was a player free on the right-hand side if he wanted to use him, which he didn't. And Rocco. That's the one that was made earlier. Ching it was, and it's continuing to cause a nuisance. Zouaghi making sure that nothing is happening around it. So this is the goal. Dendani kept his composure, kept going. Ottawa instantly looking at his centre-back. His movement put him off. And it could not have been more expensive. Striker's dream to be presented with a gaping goal like that. CS Sfaxian man. Feeling the moment. Smiles have not been seen too often on this Tunisian bench, as we see Ben Ali receiving the yellow after putting his shirt back on. So Ayari's race is won. Ryan Jerby is a more defensively minded player. The 18-year-old with Nice is on. Indication that Ben Sultan looking to shut up shop. Hold on to a victory which could be absolutely crucial. Reminder that 2 years ago they lost their opening game. They made the semis. Desperate that Lightning can strike twice. Wangaya. Little ball forward looking. One day. It was a nice idea. As we see the Tunisian goal once again. Dendani with the footwork. Did really well there, Dendani. He's with the Monaco youth. The 18-year-old has been with the club since 2021. Now with the under-19s there. One of quite a few in this Tunisian squad who, in this starting lineup, who born in France. Who's Nina as well. Beja. Zouaghi just stands firm. Sticks to his ground. What it must be like for him to have Ayman Makhlouti to call upon and ask questions to and get advice. Makhlouti having got to countless Cup of Nations, a couple of World Cups, hugely experienced in international football, club football as well, of course. The Champions League, the Federation Cup. Even having played so long, the Cup Winners' Cup, which is now defunct, of course. So Dandani removed after a fine run. Grew into the game, especially in the second period. Was Nina. He's not going to get anything there. It's Brian Emilio. Kenya substitutions, another with Ulinzi Stars. A little bit of urgency, Kenya. Riding the challenge from Emilio. Two substitutes clashing. Switch to play again. Alala this time. Meherzi. Nicely played. There, Bali. Rocco winning the free kick for Kenya. Shaban is going to be coming on for his first minutes of the tournament. He was in the squad last time around. He's a forward with Gourmaia replacing Sharon Ochieng, who's been heavily involved. The right back. But it's a throw of the dice time for Kenya. For the field, but clearly not. Just clip there, as you can see, by Emilio. Standing leg, absolutely swiped away from Ayari. First Kenyan to go into the notebook is the substitute. Ayari swings this in. Headed away. Rocco can't dispossess Debali. Does well to keep that alive before being fouled. Two Tunisians now on the floor, another yellow card coming as well. Ben Ali clearly feeling the effects of that. Debali did really well here just to keep this alive. He then got caught by a pretty mild challenge from a one day. And then as they played it round the corner just here, Ben Ali got absolutely clipped. Yet another hold up to this game. So we see Dendani, a nutmeg of sorts. ultimately came off. And as Ben Ali lies on the floor, you might want to be remembering this moment. He's lucky he didn't get much more weight on that first touch. The first thought was to remove the jersey. Tunisia, who were trailing shortly before the break, leading shortly before the end. Of the yellow card for Mansour. That's going to cause some problems, and it has indeed, and it surely has clinched the victory as well. Well, it was always drifting away from Oduor, and Debali, the substitute, has surely sealed a much-needed win for the North Africans. Well, Oduor cannot watch. You can see from the moment it left Debali's boot that it was going very, very close to goal and somewhere that was out of reach of the Kenyan goalkeeper. And well, there has been little response from the Rising Stars since Ben Ali gave Tunisia the lead. He was surely meaning to cross it, as we know, and instead it just sailed over the head and the arm of Clifford Oduor. And Tunisia have somehow found their goal-scoring boots. I wouldn't necessarily say form, one from the penalty spot, one from an error, and one from an attempted cross, but nonetheless they have 3 goals, and this can only give them confidence. It is going to give them everything to play for when they go up against Morocco in 3 days' time. The changes continue. Buznina, the man coming off. Kusai Ben Marcha, another youngster, 17 years of age with Esperance. And who also plays. And the final third will be on. Buznina scored the penalty just before half-time to level up matters. In the 63rd minute of the opening period, such was the hold-ups that we saw, injuries to Zwagi, Lawrence, and Lala. And the stuffing seems to have been knocked out of Kenya. That Tunisian bench, which was so tense for so long, just wreathed in smiles. Well, Kenya are going to have to work on protecting a lead. Twice now in their 2 games here they've led. And on both occasions they've then gone on to concede 3 goals. Unbound by being thumped from close range. Ben Ali. Cordy. And into the middle again it goes. Oh, the acrobatics attempts it. There's going to be another break in play. Yari trying the spectacular. Mansour putting his body on the line. Here is that 3rd goal. Drifting, drifting, and drifting away from Oduor. Kenya's hopes of getting anything out of this game, drifting along with it. Mayadeen Debali. Giving Tunisia a vital 2-goal cushion, and the defender doesn't get many, and so he's going to enjoy the moment when it comes. A moment to savour for Tunisia's under-20 side. Moment he may never forget. Quite the contrast, as you might imagine, amongst the East African contingent. Their search for a first victory since 1979 in this tournament goes on. They aren't gaining crucial experience. 7 minutes of additional time. It's the equivalent, really, by the time this game will have finished of effectively playing extra time. There will have been nearly 2 hours. Football, given the 18 minutes in the first half and the 7 added on now. Beja constantly been trying his best. The AFC Leopards man. Just hopefully pumping that forward. We have to win to be able to progress, the Kenyan coach said ahead of the tie. Dreams are all but over. Just a final day clash with Nigeria to go for Kenya. There's not been an easy baptism of fire. Positives, of course, is that at least they are here. So those 46 years away. Lawrence with the flick. Lawrence wins the free kick. Mahezi arguing his case. One guy up, looking for something special from distance. He'll get another crack at it. He isn't able to find a red head. Solid tackle coming in. Skipping through is Shaban, the substitute. To another substitute, Rocco. Wants to get his shot away. And still he's going at Rocco. And he had options. He would have been well advised to take at least one of them. Dispossessed by a combination of Ayari and Mahezi. Macha into the middle. Mahezi. Nice idea. Didn't quite come off. And Lawrence through the middle and on the charge, and for the first time clashing with Alala. Ben Ali. Clipped again. The free kick counter at the end of this game must be fairly hefty. Still he goes, Beja. Ben Ali. And against the post as well. Well, that was an opportunity to get a fourth for Tunisia. Matcha, the substitute. How close was that? In the very final minute as well. Just alert to the danger. A really tight angle. She's trying his luck. We're in surely the final minute of this game that has gone well beyond its scheduled finish. Ben Ali in behind. Will be a goal kick. Lawrence. All eyes on the referee, Emmanuel Mensah of Liberia, who puts his whistle to his lips to signify the end of a game that Tunisia have won to move joint top of Group B with Nigeria and Morocco. But for how long, of course, is the question, with those two sides set to meet within the hour. Lawrence Okoth gave the East Africans the lead before Fares Bouznina reduced the deficit deep into first half stoppage time in a period affected by many injuries. And then the substitutes combined. Omar Ben Ali giving Tunisia the lead, and Alauddin Debali's attempted cross floating into the back of the Kenyan goal, and with it taking the Tunisians to their first victory of the 2025 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, and consigning Kenya to looking on wistfully at what might